Hey everyone, Aaron here with Elite Water Sports, and today, well yesterday, you're a kiteboarder and today you're gonna be a kite surfer, all right? Kite surfing is super awesome and it allows you to open up the doors to many more adventures within kiteboarding. And of course, it is not just about surf. Flat water is super awesome and it's definitely a light wind weapon. So you can get out in the lightest breezes with a nice flat surfboard, or go learn some tacks and jibes so you're better in the actual surf when you go out there and play in that, okay? Now, the equipment that we're gonna be using today, mainly I'm just looking for a nice flat surfboard with a lot of volume or surface area, okay? Just like a light wind board would be. And also, I wanna make it easy on myself today. We're in about 10 to 11 knots, and I'm gonna put myself on as much power as I can get. I'm on a 17-meter kite. What that's gonna do is make it so that I'm more focused on the board rather than the kite the whole entire time. You know, aggressively diving your kite to get up on the board and having to work it several times, 2 or 3 times, now you're more focused on the actual kite than the board. And today, this is new to you, so you're gonna wanna focus on the surfboard only. When I'm working with putting the board on, I'm typically just going to be grabbing the rails, okay, of the board, all right? Now, putting the board on, you wanna kind of refer back to your beginner lessons of constant pressure, but first you have to get into that position of constant pressure. I'm not cheating. I'm not going to put straps on there, okay? If you're uncomfortable or intimidated by the surfboard, throw some straps, make it easy, okay? But this video is how to be strapless, all right? Now, I actually want to go left, all right? So I'm gonna actually set up with the kite on the right, a little different than what you're used to with your twin tip, all right? As I sit down in the water, I have the kite about 1 o'clock and nicely placed in the middle of the bar so the kite's not out of control, all right? And I'm gonna sit down into the water, all right? I'm gonna reach over and grab this rail, elbow into the pad, okay? Allowing it easier to flip up on its rail, okay? Notice I'm not in the middle of the board. The middle of the board is going to compress my body and I can't. Most people aren't gonna be flexible enough to do that. So if you get used to grabbing the tail right here, extending the board out in front of you with the kite at the opposite side, this case 1 o'clock, it's going to pull me right into it. I can just have my front foot right on the board. Front foot on the board. Look, I'm not compressed. Now I am doing a balancing act because of the video. I'm just trying to make it easy to show. But if you're floating on your back, it'll look like this. Knee on the board and then putting your feet in place, okay? Constant pressure on the board. And then we're swing over to the left, dive your kite. Okay guys, so this is going to be a different perspective on it. Remember, I'm grabbing that rail and my elbow right here, extending that board out in front of me so that I don't have to compress and be super flexible, all right? And as I'm sitting down in the water, okay, or if I'm just floating on my back, I'm gonna use that kite over at 1 o'clock or maybe a little lower to pull me into my board. Having that constant pressure, making sure I don't go to 12 o'clock. If I go to 12 o'clock, I'm gonna lose that pressure that I want, okay? When I'm ready to go, I'm gonna go ahead and send the kite past 12. That'll give me the lift I want. So now it's an easy transition to my feet. I don't have to have this really yanking aggressive dive in order to get going. Now at this stage in the game, you're not ready to do some transitions, or maybe you are, challenge yourself, but I suggest just doing this. Coming down to a nice smooth finish. Spinning the board around and getting going again. As you become more confident in this, you don't actually have to strategically place the board exactly where you need it. You can just use the power of our sail, our kite, that's lifting us up onto the board to do all the work. So here's the way to get onto it from left to right. Kite over 11 o'clock. Constant pressure, and then sending it past 12, standing up nice and early, and you notice, nice big kite, lots of power, lifted me up on my feet without an aggressive dive. All right, if you notice, My feet are really far back in the board. You can see that nose really far out of the water. You want to shift forward a little bit. That way you flatten the board out and you'll be more efficient. So let's talk about foot placement on the board. This thing is an open canvas to try whatever you want and really experiment with what happens when you shift your feet around, okay? Now, I can tell you this, the more aft you are on the board, the more that nose is going to be up above the water. You're going to be pretty sluggish. You always want to have somewhat of most of the board, 3/4 of the board, in the actual water, okay? So if you shift forward, you're going to become more efficient and get gliding a lot easier, okay? Also, if you have your feet way out here on the edge of the rail, that board's going to want to have a roll tendency constantly like that and more of an edge feel. Surfing on flat water or in between sets or waves, you actually want to have the board pretty flat and utilize the fins more than the rail. And what you're used to right now is a twin tipper, it's all about rail, okay? So use those fins, really dig them in, and not so much about like edging really hard on that rail. It's more about twisting that board into the breeze and really taking advantage of, look at these nice big rudders. Turn those rudders into the breeze and you'll actually track upwind a lot easier than just utilizing your rail, okay? So have fun, move those feet around, see what happens, and see all the different maneuvers you can do. All right, so that is our entry into kite surfing. This is the bare basics of how to get up on your surfboard. And in the following video, we'll be a little bit more aggressive of how to get onto the board and also getting into your first transitions. So if you like and subscribe to our channel and make sure you hit that little bell button, you'll be actually notified when those videos are about to release. This is Aaron with Elite Water Sports, and I'll catch you on the water.